Good evening, chocolate people. Welcome to the Chocolate Life. I am your host, Mr. Chocolate. Welcome to the Chocolate Life podcast. Once again, we're joined by our resident co host, Coach K. Um, have a great show for you. Uh, Today's is case study Drake, 21st century culture colonizer. Um, ever since everything got started, ever since everything got started with the quote unquote rap battle, rap beef, with the rap battle, rap beef, um, this has been a large portion of the Hey, Coach K.
Hey, I had to log out and log back in. It was giving me issues.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, please check out the Chocolate Life on multiple platforms: Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Jam, Pandora, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, Castbox, and other podcasting platforms. Um, Today, we're going to do a case study: Drake, the 21st century culture colonizer. Um, Coach K, let's get into it.
Hi. Hi, audience. Okay, we gonna jump right into it. Audience, we're so glad you guys tuned in. Of course, as usual, we have to flip nights, and when we flip nights, we're happy that you guys still tune in when we have to do something just a little bit different. But we're gonna do a case study. We did a case study on K Dot. Now we're gonna do a case study on Drake, but this is gonna be a little bit different because one question, not one question, but what I'm going to try to help us to learn to do when we do case studies is how do you critique whatever your case study is? Whether it's a person, a concept, an issue. Before we get into Drake, I just want to say I hope everybody is well. I hope everybody is understanding what's going on in our country. As we know, yesterday, someone from Donald Trump's own circle took a shot at him. And now the media is trying to redevelop the narrative, but regardless if Donald Trump got shot at or not, Donald Trump promotes hate. So therefore, whatever the energy we give out, as you can see, it will come back and meet us again. And as I stated, even if he got shot at yesterday, he's still alive. So therefore, Donald Trump is not going to change, nor is Project 2025. The people in this country plan to turn this into an authoritarian ran country where we as Black people, a political term that I'm using when I say that word, have very few rights. So therefore, it will be even less. So as taking that for what it's worth, be aware of your surrounding. Make sure you protect yourself and always know you have your own back even when nobody else has it. And therefore, these people, whomever they are, Democrats or Republicans, they're only trying to continue the elites running the world, running this country, and therefore, whatever is happening with them has no bearing on you because Black people get killed every day by all of the people up there. And we know if that had been a Black guy, it would have been domestic terrorism, it would have been the thugs, it would have been everything other than trying to paint him as a human being who had issues, he was bullied, as if we haven't been bullied ever since Europeans been in this part of the world. So that's my spiel on that. So I want to make sure that we always keep abreast of the current news. And the reason I chose Drake, shifting gears, is because Drake is on the other side of the coin of K. Dot or Kendrick Lamar. And this, what they call a rap beef, it's about more than a rap beef. If you guys notice, well, let me back up. Let me ask a question. How is it that Drake has been doing music in the United States for 15 years? And most of the young people who have been listening to Drake never tried to find out his background and what kind of person he really was? Or are you guys so enamored by the person's music, how they look, how they dress, that trying to look at their backstory is unimportant? Or are you, as young people, trying to fit into a circle, as we use the word in the title, culture? We have a culture in this country. It's called white supremacy. That's a culture like anything else. A culture is just how a group of people form their society. That's it in a nutshell. So that word been thrown around, minimized, but it's only minimized when it happens to do with Black people. White supremacy has a culture, and people act like they're afraid to say the word white supremacy. White supremacy runs this country, i.e., the world, because all of the elites around the world who continues to destroy other people's countries and set themselves up to be the gods of this world. They're pale skin, and you can fill in the blank. It rhymes with jigger. Okay? Why do I say all of that? And we're talking about Drake. Because Drake is a Canadian. Okay? So, first of all, Drake is not from the United States of America. And yes, I was intentional in framing it in that term. Drake is from Canada. However, to know how Drake got his start in America, you have to go back to the rapper Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne is a rapper, and I remember when the Olympics was in progress, and Michael Phelps, a swimmer, somebody asked him what was he listening to, his iPod, and he said Lil Wayne. So therefore, when people who are considered to be role models in this society, if they say anything, the lingo is they give them a shout out, and that makes their sales go up. So I don't know if that happened for Lil Wayne or not. Only thing I know that's in reference to this podcast that we're doing right now is Lil Wayne introduced Drake to the American music scene. Drake was already a Canadian TV star. Rule number one, it is important to do our homework, because Lil Wayne did not do his homework because he did not know Drake was already on TV in Canada. From my research about how they first met, which dates back to 2015 and the person who wrote this story was Zara Gordon. And the name of the website is thefader.com. TheFader is an article where she talks about how Drake and Lil Wayne met. So what I found there, and that was during the time when MySpace was a part of the scene. So they found their their next new artist by going on MySpace, and I'm not familiar with MySpace. I guess that's well, as far as being a part of the internet, I understand MySpace. It was the the preview. I mean the precursor to um, Facebook. Okay, so yeah, I do understand that much in that concept. I actually worked in computers, so I understand computers. I just don't have a desire to do a lot of the stuff that's being done there because I work in the hospital setting. So therefore, being on Facebook all day is not something that I do. I'm being the face of patients. But just like anybody who is trying to know what's going on around the world, I did my homework on Drake, same way I did with K Dot. Same way I'm hoping you guys would start doing. So we won't run into another situation that we are in with this quote unquote rap beef. This is, as I stated, this is more than a rap beef because of the statements and the allegations that are made, not just about Drake. Because let me just go through a few of the allegations, just in case some of you guys been on a rock or been in outer space or in sea level and have not heard the diss tracks by Drake and the diss track by Kendrick Lamar going up against each other. And we learned from Drake. Drake tells in his diss track that Kendrick beats his lady friend. That was his angle. Well, we know from listening to Not Like Us or listening to um, the Grams, dear all of Drake's family and Euphoria, we find that Kendrick paints a narrative. And I must add, in studying the two, one of them is an entertainer, the other one is an artist. An artist is a individual who learn how to tell story. So I'm gonna let you decide which one is which. Uh, just because you learn to entertain by rapping does not mean you are an artist who knows how to tell a story. And the whole idea of rap is you learn how to tell your own story through this music genre that they now call rap. So I'm hoping that you guys understand the difference between the two. And for the past, I'll just say 20 years, the rap music has changed, which I didn't know until now, because the industry would have us to know, or proper propagandize that rap is about killing, having sex with young women, and flaunting, as they call bling. In other words, flaunting all your riches. Well, we can see from the young people who hang out in Compton and the West Coast, that's not true. But you would know that from the music industry because that's all the music industry have been promoting. Because the music industry was set up to destroy our community. The music industry is ran by all of these people who came out of Europe, who call themselves all these different names. I just need you to know they came out of Europe. You can call them all the other names you want to add to it. That's who they are. Drake, like Diddy, have been doing the same thing, according to reports. Now, if it's not true, it's up to him to come back and prove that it's not true. And as we can see from May, June, and July, KDOT has been consistent in calling Drake an alleged boy hang around young girls, predators, and people who like to pretend that they're us and they're not. and he has not backed down. But what Drake has done, it's like some of the other people. And I'm going to go back. If you're not familiar with Tekashi 69, Tekashi 69 is a rapper. And yes, I am going to tie all of this all together. And it still is about Drake. As I stated, number one, Lil Wayne brought Drake to the music scene because Drake wanted to be quote unquote a rapper. But Drake is an actor. That is what he went to school to be, an actor. And we know people who act, that's what they're doing. They are pretending to be something or somebody that they're not. And Lil Wayne did not know this. And when he brought Drake on stage, his audience recognized who he was from a TV show. And how Lil Wayne not know this is easy because Lil Wayne, from what I've seen from him, he's high on stage half of the time. But if he can make money off of this young guy, that's all he cared about. And I'm just reading from the article. It's like, oh, so in other words, he already has a built-in audience. So being with Lil Wayne just made his audience become bigger because these are the young people who watch whatever Canadian TV show that he was on. Now it expands because they have fallen in love with quote unquote a TV actor. Now a TV actor, as Lil Wayne said, also you act too. So he feel like he has a twofer. So the industry has always played on young people and used them for their benefit. In this case, I would have to say Lil Wayne got played. Now, how I say Lil Wayne got played? Because he didn't know who Drake was. He didn't know what Drake was doing. So it looked as though Lil Wayne brought him in, but at the same time, Lil Wayne is working with Birdman and some of these other industry people. And you have to say the rabbit hole does go deep. And I don't think the rabbit hole that Kendrick is talking about is just simply about Drake. I think the rabbit hole is talking about how all of these connections in the music industry lead back to pedophilia, predators, money laundering, and everything that destroys the community. And people don't mind by using each other and they look like us, but they are not us. And I will put Lil Wayne into that category. As Kendrick said in one of his songs, that you slept with Lil Wayne's girl in the track, not like us. Now, how is he still alive? Now that shows that if Lil Wayne was quote unquote part of the gangster, okay, not the industry. If he was a gangster, like most gangsters, as people use the word gangsters, one thing you don't do, you don't sleep with another man's woman. That is not what gangsters do, unless they say you can. Obviously, he didn't say this man could sleep with his woman because he was locked up, according to the record. My point is, Drake has been doing some very shady stuff for a long time. And in order for you to know the ins and out of Drake, you have to look at some of the other stuff, some of the other industry people have been doing. And some people call Drake an industry plant. Well, now some people are calling Sexy Red an industry plant. Sexy Red is on Drake's in Drake's camp, okay? Part of his label, that's the word I'm looking for. Sexy Red is a part of his label. But as we're looking at what we call industry plants, that goes back to Tekashi 69. Tekashi 69 was supposed to be a young rapper out of, I think it was Houston or New York. I can't remember which, so don't quote me on it.
He's out of
My
New
point
York.
is this young man caused a ruckus down in Houston because I remember that it was some type of shootout. Okay, but this young man ended up going to prison, and then we find out this young man is a whole snitch for the FBI. And right now, you don't hear nothing from him. So the FBI is very aware if if Diddy is doing what he's doing, as all of these lawsuits have said, they understand if Drake is doing the same thing. Now that's my point, because we're still talking about the same group of people. And if they're plants, which is to say the industry is using them, and who else? Could be the FBI using them. But all of this is trying to use all of these elements to destroy us as a group of people and our whole family structure. And what's sad about Drake, and I wish you guys would just look up Drake's uncle. Well, let me just look at Drake and then I'll tie the rest of it. Some of the things I found out about Drake, um, which everybody wants to tie Drake into being an Ashkenaz Jew, whatever that means. I'm not sure, but Ashkenaz in some people definition means the Latvians or the Russian Jews that came out of um, that area that was called the Hungary Austrian Empire before it broke up, because that's what it was. It was an empire. So therefore, all of these places, even if you want to call them Italian, there was no such thing as a country before the Ottoman Empire was dissolved in the 1800s. So hopefully we will learn to get all of the way we understand the world correct, and instead of allowing Europeans to tell us what's supposed to mean what. If this person who is his mom is a part of these people, then these people never liked black people anyways. Let's just put it out there. But how she ends up with Drake's father, who was a musician, who lived in Memphis, and they supposedly had Drake, and all of these big holes are in his story because allegedly they were married. So where did they get married? And when did his father even stay in Canada? Drake doesn't tell us any of this. So we still got to figure out who is this person that everybody have put up to be the pop star of the century, or supposed to be, the king, or whatever they call it, the king of rap. Now, how is it a Canadian is the king of rap, and rap is developed by black people in the United States? That may not mean anything to you guys who are listening to this podcast, but it means a lot to the culture of black people who start everything specifically to help aid our culture. And now everybody is still trying to dissolve it and dismiss it and disrespect it and use other people to become the face of it. When this beef first started back in April, end of April, coming into May, there was supposed to have been a shooting at Drake's compound, the one that's on the label, the cover of Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us. Well, the police said that was a fake phone call to the police, but that was the end of it. They didn't ever question this man to find out why did he make a fake phone call to the police. And then we have to ask the question, and that brings us to the Donald Trump stuff. I'll deal with that before I let Mr. Chocolate come in and give you some elements to consider when you are looking at his history of his music. They never asked him any question on why he did this. But if it had been us, people would be wondering, Why you put in a false call to the police? Yes, somebody got shot, but nobody still say how this man got shot, why he got shot, or why did Drake call in a phone. Now, that's what the police in Canada said. It was a fake phone call into the police. Okay. So however this man got shot, it wasn't as serious. So my question is, were they trying to intimate that this was some type of beef where K Dot is trying to take Drake out? But it fell apart. The whole narrative fell apart real quick, kind of like what's happening with Donald Trump. Donald Trump, and I'm not getting off subject, I'm just showing you how a theme of trying to manipulate the public is going hard at work in every arena in this thing we call life, because these so-called be reporters are just propagandists now. They're not even trying to tell the news. They're only just trying to make a story and get $1. And that's really what Drake is doing. Drake is just trying to make as much money as he can. And he is following, now that party's following in the foot of Lil Wayne. He is just trying to get artists under his belt. He hadn't checked out their resume or what they doing. He's just signing them to his label. And if he can get his profile raised, he raised his profile and he move on. Now, you can check this out on the internet. There are a whole bunch of more young people doing research than anything I can do to find out about this person, because they are into his music. I'm just doing research so we can learn to understand, to know when people are trying to use us to gain a position. He's using Sexy Red. You have to ask the question, why is he using Sexy Red? Why is anybody would use Sexy Red? First of all, that young lady has nothing to offer young women that I see. Now, if you want to be a stripper pole lady, if that's the way you have to finance yourself, then so be it. I'm okay with that if that's what you have to do to make a living. But that still is not enough to say she is the standard, or she is what young people need to be aspiring for, specifically young girls. Your Sexy Red is not that. Sexy Red went to a school and she was high. And she's supposed to be talking to young people. Sexy Red talks about her vagina and talks about all kinds of inappropriate things in her song. So why would you want your teenage girl or your adolescent girl listening to that? You're promoting a level of promiscuity that it's beyond just being, this is what I have to do for work. She's saying, I'm unabashful about this. And this is it. So when she gets to, I don't know how old she is, but when she gets to be 30, if she's still singing the same music, you have to ask yourself, as parents or as young people, has she grown and what has she taught me? And you may like her music, I don't know. That's the same thing about Drake. As I said, Mr. Chocolate is going to give you the whole thing about his history. But he has not been the only plant. Like I said, Tekashi 69 has been a plant in our community, but so has Barack Obama. So that's why I said tying it into politics. When we first met Barack Obama, most of us could not tell you where Barack Obama was from, what he has done, what he had done, and his whole claim to fame once they allowed him to become a senator was to lay low. He was groomed by, and I'm using the word groom for a reason, because these are people who show you the ropes. Grooming don't necessarily always mean that you are trying to have sex with a child or be a predator. Grooming simply means I'm trying to show you the rope and you follow in these tracks. And that's what Barack Obama did. Barack Obama never did anything to help Black people. Barack Obama did everything to help the same people Joe Biden is helping. He helped the people who have no status in this country, which is an insult. You have the people who have sexual preferences, which it doesn't matter if you get killed on the highway and your face is black. They don't care who you slept with the night before or the night that's going to come up. If they want to kill you and take you out, that is the last thing you're going to remember, that you got shot. And they didn't care. They didn't care. That when they're shooting at black people, they're not asking you who you slept with, if you got a husband, a wife, or both. Donald Trump, Joe Biden, Barack Obama have all helped the same people, the elites, and they continue to do that. What is this young man doing versus what Kendrick did? Kendrick put himself in the middle of his community. He loved his community, regardless of what the TV say about Compton, regardless of what the TV say about all the young people who ever did dope, and now they have decided to put the dope down and write with the pen and do raps and make money, take care of their families. As I talked about earlier, Roddy Rich and all of these other young people, all of these people are a part of the circle that they used to call the gangs in Chicago, in California. But now they're taking care of their families, and people in my age group and older who still promote this idea that everybody got to look a cookie color the same way, and they have forgotten about all the young people who don't like all of this so-called be church music, who are not rocking with half of the politicians that are around, who are not rocking with the old school music, as they call it. They like, and they might like some of the old school music, but they also like rap. And just because we may not rock with rap, we need to know what our children like. And that's where old people have actually missed the boat. I would say they missed the boat because I'm in that class. I don't have a problem being an old person, an elder, a mentor to all young people. Not a problem. That's what I'm here for. But the people in my age group, and I'm just going to say, and I'm going to take them down some, because everybody I said my age group, I'm talking about people that are 50 and older. I'm not talking about simply because you might be exactly my age. People 50 and older, we came up in the same, well, some of us 40 and older. We came up with the same thing because we came up in communities which were multi-generational, which mean that you understood what your grandparents did, you understood what your parents did, you did things, and then you had children, and we all still doing multi-generational. Well, we've gotten away from that. So now people are so separated from community until multi-generational don't actually exist a whole lot in our community. And that's what I'm hoping we can get back to, because that's where we're fragmented. And we can see that from Drake. Drake is capitalizing by pretending to like the music of the culture, of the rap. Let's just say that, the rap culture. Because as we have probably brought up Drake before, there is nothing in Drake's life that address being kinship to us. It could have. One of the things Drake said, it said, Drake was born in 1986, and he gained fame from a TV show as a TV in the series Degrassi. Okay, he did that for 8 years until 2017. So that means in 2017 is when he became what he would call a superstar. So it's 2015 when this person wrote this article about learning Drake's relationship to Lil Wayne. So I would suggest people go back before he became so-called a hot topic on the Billboard 100. Because Drake says he has some tattoos, which to me is kind of weird. Because sometimes when they interview people, they ask questions. And Drake said he has a tattoo of Aaliyah on him. He has a tattoo of Denzel Washington. He has multiple tattoos of Sade, Robin Givens, Lil Wayne, somebody named Skepta, Pop Can, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, and his late friend Fifth. You have to ask the question, why does he have tattoos of these people on his body? Specifically, why does he have a tattoo of Aaliyah? Why does he have a tattoo of Denzel Washington? Now, does he know Aaliyah from TV? Does he know? Now, he has to know Denzel Washington from TV because Denzel Washington and Robin Givens from TV, because these are not rap artists. So these are the things you have to take into context when you are actually doing a deep dive on a person. What does all of these things mean? Because they mean something to him. Otherwise, he would not have them doing an insignia into his body. So that's kind of weird. And he has multiple tattoos of Sade. So I found that to be a little bit weird. And then, of course, he only has one tattoo of Lil Wayne, and that's the person who brought him into the industry. And he has a tattoo of Steph Curry, Kevin Durant. Those are basketball people. So still ask a question. How is this person supposedly the most or the best rap artist when nothing about him, not even on his body parts, says music? He doesn't have a tattoo of a guitar. He does not have a tattoo of a drum snare. He does not have a tattoo of any type of instrument. So how is this person supposedly this mega star? These are the things that, if you can find people who can give you information that you feel is authentic, take it for what it is. Because it seemed like this person is very disturbed, and now all of this stuff is come back to haunt him. And of course, he can't say anything right now, because whatever he says, according to Kendrick Lamarr, I can go farther. So my hunch is he don't want him to go farther, because the rabbit hole goes deep. And as we saw from Kendrick Lamar's ending of his video, he shows containers. And inside of one container is a speaker where these two guys are dancing, but I didn't let that pass me. That's an indicator for you to understand that these containers carry people. That's what those containers represent. While at the same time he's doing this, Drake is up in the Hamptons following the same trend as all of these people who call themselves music industry stars. The industry promote each other, they hang out with each other, they do the same thing that Diddy is doing. Because Diddy used to have the white party. In other words, everybody dressed in white. Now Michael Rubin is having the white party where everybody dressed in white. And they have all these different gifts. And they just promote themselves. That's it. Well, they're doing the same thing that Jeffrey Epstein did. But at this point, we're not hearing any conversation about Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump. And the last we heard, Donald Trump was on Jeffrey Epstein plane 69 times. So whatever anybody can do to take the conversation away from Trump, it's the same thing they do with Drake. Right now, Drake is not talking. The last thing he did was he put an ad out talking about his apparel. And his apparel, this young lady had on the same outfit, and she looked like K Dot's lady friend. Matter of fact, she had her hair cut short, she had on a wife beater, and she had on a hoodie. And he's selling it in his apparel store, the OVO collection. Well, as people say, that's still a beef, but that's not as much of a beef if he opens his mouth. And that's what we're noticing Drake is not doing. Drake is not opening his mouth right now because he don't know what is coming next from Kendrick Lamar's pen. And Kendrick Lamar let Drake know, my whole community is behind me. And that's what we need. We need a whole community behind us, even when people are shooting not just headshots, but shooting gunshots. We're in a very difficult time in this country. And this is not a game. Although people continue to use that language, it's not a game. Those songs that Kendrick put out, not Drake, because in a few minutes I'm about to land my plane, and I'm gonna let Mr. Chocolate tell you about Drake's music catalog collection, whatever you call it. Kendrick's art is painting narratives, and you can understand the words, the lyrics. As they say, he's a lyricist. No, he's a storyteller. His music tells stories. I've gone through some of his music. It's quite deep. He used language that some of you guys, your parents may not let you listen to because he used a lot of foul language. That's what young people use. The culture, okay? The industry has made it okay for you to be very disrespectful with this music. And as Kendrick said, I have to learn how to watch my mouth. So that lets me know that this young man can do some things where he does not have to curse. I mean, this was an A student, so he didn't have to curse. And perhaps later on, after he continued to build his own empire, because his empire is not just about him and his small family, it's about the big family of Compton. It's about the family of the West Coast. That is what we have to learn to do. And let him do whatever he do with his music, his art, and how he's doing it. But what can we learn from it is the question. How is this young man teaching us some things that old people are not doing? He is challenging not only Drake, but the whole entertainment industry. If you have not seen Not Like Us, I want you to watch it and watch how he looked directly in the camera and give the industry 2 middle fingers, not just one. And for everybody in the Black community, you know what it means when you say, F your mother, and you too. So he means business, and he's standing on business. It's not just about music, it's about our survival. And with that, I'm going to land my plane.
All right. So I did a little research on some. Now, I just chose 10 songs out of Drake's catalog that actually, the titles of the song tell you about kind of tell you about who he is as a person. All right. One of the first ones that came to mind, No New Friends. That song is basically, okay, now that I got money, I don't need no new friends. You know, he's gonna keep whoever he's got around, you know, Now he's gonna pick and choose those. Let me uh, re, let me reframe that. He's gonna pick and choose who his
Rephrase
new
it.
friends are. Then there is starting from the bottom. This man grew up in a rich suburb of Toronto. Now he reps Toronto hard now, but he's not from the hood in Toronto. He's from a area called Scarborough. It also has
So, in
another
other
name.
words, he lied.
Yes, there is. He didn't get it from the gutter or like he did not start from the bottom. He came in to the music game as a famous Canadian actor. There was no getting it from the bottom. Also, in his MTV Cribs interview a year and a half before he even came out, this man grabbed a CD book, and this CD book, like it could probably hold a good solid 100, 150, maybe 200 CDs. This man was literally listening to music to study for, he said, to study for the role of his life. Drake is an actor playing a rapper. Point blank, period. The third song that got my attention, he came out with a song a few years ago called God's Plan. This man has handlers. This man is working for the people, not people like us, because he's not like us. I'm talking about them entertainment people. And he's painted his narrative and story so thick to the point to where people actually believe that this is God's plan for him to be where he is and be this famous. No, I'm not buying it. Now, once again, now this one is telling a lot about who he is as a person. Rich baby daddy. His son was conceived by a woman by the name of Lana Rhoades, a porn star. He's her rich baby daddy. Yes.
Oh.
Lana Rhoades. Yes. The next song, once again, talking about his riches, Money in the Grave. Just talking about the money he's getting, he a billionaire. He got the OVO compound. Ooh, Drake got money. Oh my God, no. He's just flexing his money. And this one I kind of have a problem with, because anytime somebody comes at him in a rap song, even going back to the infamous and powerful Control verse by Kendrick Lamar, he wants to play the whole tough. He was very sensitive. He told Angela Yee on a interview that he felt betrayed by Kendrick for coming at him in such a harsh way in the verse. And then he comes out with a song called First Person Shooter. Drake, you're an actor. You're not a gangster. Just because you hang out with Young Thug in Atlanta, whenever you're in Atlanta, and he's telling you all the lingo, and he telling you slime, but you're not slime. Take off and one of the Migos is telling you can do this, you hard, you from this part, Young Thug telling you slime. No, you're not. Then you got people telling you where to get money in Atlanta. Two Chains was like, then he come up slime you out. Come on, Drake, you're not slime. Stop it. Now here's where the titles get interesting. Girls want girls. Not women want women. Girls want girls. That's what Drake is
Mm.
talking about. Then he has another song called Teenage Fever. Oh yeah, if you got Apple Music, you can go on and look it up, and it's gonna be right there. Yeah, Drake like girls that want girls and like them girls, and then he has that teenage fever. Oh, you got some problems, son. Might need to go get some help. And then he comes out with the song that was a hit a couple years ago, Hotline Bling, talking about going to get with this girl, and then he's hurt because this girl was messing with this dude over here because that girl wasn't messing with him. Now, when I use the word messing, I'm really that's a substitute for the word that rhymes with ducking minus the F plus a D.
Ooh,
Yeah, that's what Hotline Bling was
okay.
about. Then the last one, members only. He think he's in an elite group based on solely on the money that he has, his popularity. Oh, you have to be this to hang out with me. Oh, I can't be around those peasants. Oh my goodness. Oh, I I feel so famished. I'm gonna go to my OVO compound and hang with my friends. I dare not call them homies. Yeah, he has literally painted his story throughout every song. You can literally look at every album and look at every song, and that's gonna tell you everything you know about Drake. But these are just the few that I pulled out. Just 11. Just 11. Now, doesn't that
Well,
sound like a
go,
21st
go ahead.
century culture colonizer? I would think so.
Um, I think what Drake had, Mr. Chocolate, are you done?
Yes.
I think what Drake is actually letting us in on, and by him being so arrogant to attempt to call himself, well, actually, it was J. Cole, and then J. Cole recognized that that was something he should not have done. I'm not sure why these guys thought their egos were going to entertain a young man who actually been telling you ever since he got into this rap game that he might be your colleague, but he come to murder you. In other words, murder you on the music. That's what he was in there for. He's been actually preparing this since he was 16. So there's no way in the world that he was going to do anything any different. It's just like being in a jam session. When you're in a jam session, you in there to show them how, when they give you that solo moment, you up there to do everything you need to do to win that solo moment. That is the same thing Kendrick is doing. He is showing you what he is made of in the music, in the lyrics, in the storylines. And his storyline is not only about him, but it's about his total community. I've not heard, when you talked about Drake's song, I've not heard one song that Drake talked about his community. I've not heard one song where Drake talked about his family or how he grew up. So, therefore, if a person is not giving you a piece of themselves in a story, unless in fact they are, and it sounds like he's giving you a story, and the only thing the story is doing is really pretty much what Sexy Red's story is talking about. This is what they desire to be rich. That's it. They have no substance. They just want to be of the. They want to be a part of the power pool, but they really don't have any power other than telling people who don't have their money, you're poor and you're mad and you're angry. And it's like, no, we actually pay your salary and you're a piece of trash. And now we recognize that. That's what's going to happen with these so-called be rap artists. If you don't have realness to you, and when people start painting you into a corner that you actually dug for yourself, like Drake did. Drake started this. Nobody did this to Drake. Drake is like Donald Trump. Donald Trump started that thing that happened to him yesterday. Nobody started that. So I would like to ask the question, how do you have any empathy for somebody who does this and then they have no recourse? I don't. And I'm hoping that you don't either. Because just as soon as these people get out of the hole, if they ever come out the hole, they're going to go back to their same behavior. We see that with Drake. Instead of him bowing out gracefully, not trying to taunt this artist, he continues to taunt this artist. It's not a good move, like Donald Trump. Now, Donald Trump just got his ear pierced with a bullet, according to a report. Don't know. I heard so many different stories. But Donald Trump got his ear pierced. That's what it supposedly is about. But then now we have to ask all these questions. Well, who failed to see somebody on a building with a whatever that AK, whatever that high-powered rifle is? How you not see that? And he has been promoting, Donald Trump, when he campaigned the first time, he was saying, knock him in the head, I'll pay you to get out of jail. Made all these kind of statements. Now somebody decided they wanted to unalive him. And somehow the whole community was supposed to feel bad. Donald Trump has never felt bad for anybody. So if anybody is supposedly going to, quote unquote, waste your energy, because to me, that's what you're doing. You're wasting your energy on Drake and you're wasting your energy on Donald Trump. These are two pariahs of the culture. And when I say the culture, I'm talking about the culture of the Black community for Drake, and I'm talking about the American citizenry for Donald Trump. Both of them are energy vampires, and they don't love people, they love power. Now, that's what I want you guys to look at tonight. And by all means, go do some of this research. Just try it out on some of your favorite artists and see, are they really giving you what you are admiring about them? And if not, then maybe find you some different artists. The political scene, I'll tell anybody, if you're not voting your interests, then what are you doing? We can struggle and not do any of this. But if you're in an area where you can do some things and make a difference, by all means, do that. But learn to make your own decision so you can be proud of it and you can own it. Whatever it is, it's yours. That's how we learn how to empower ourselves and empower others. And for the second time, I land my plane, and this time I'm going to park it. Good night, Cocoverse. I'm signing out.
All right, chocolate people. That's the end of the show. Please check us out on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Jam, Pandora, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, Castbox, and Zencaster. All right. If you have Any questions or comments, please email us at therealchocolatelife@gmail.com. Disclaimer: we are not supporting any political party or any religious affiliation. All right. We're just putting out information, giving another perspective. And so, everybody, just be safe and be vigilant. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. This is Mr. Chocolate. This is Coach K. This is The Chocolate Life. And we're signing out. All right. Be safe, everybody.